Hi, I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop. Let's get working on a 70 Challenger today. Let's bend some metal.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
Okay, so what we're getting into today is starting to work on replacing that one trunk floor support and gas tank strap mount. Say that 4 times real fast. And so we're going to be cutting some metal and so forth. You'll notice that things have changed here a little bit in the shop. I've got the 47 back against the wall. I've got the 74 in here now so I can continue to work on the quarter panel that Joe and I started. I've got my load of sheet metal now, so I've got a lot of materials for that. And I got the cam back from the machine shop for the Oakland. So there's a lot of stuff going to be happening here in the shop in the next few weeks. We're excited about that. But let's get some sheet metal cut, measured out, and I'll show you the process that I go through to start fabricating parts like this for the car. What we're getting into right now is determining how big a piece of sheet metal I need to cut to replace this piece here. Now there's several things that need to be done. First of all, the front end of it is okay, so I can cut it off up in here somewhere and join it, butt weld it or overlap or whatever I decide to do. And then back in here it's got kind of a hump down and some other things that need to be done to it. So what I really need to do is find out how wide of a piece of sheet metal I need to cut. So what I'll do is I take a piece of wire, and I've already done this because it takes a little bit of time, and I just take a piece of wire and I go over the good one here, a very fine wire, very easy to bend, and I just make it form that, and then I take and cut off the excess pieces, and I know that's going to get me close to, get you where you can see, it's going to get me close to the profile, there it is, okay, profile of that tin, so that if I want to know how wide to make that, or to cut that piece off the sheet, I just straighten this out, get it close, doesn't need to be perfect, we're just ballparking, and then measure it. So this is 4.5 inches, make sure I stay in frame here, so I'll probably do it a little wider than that just to be safe, but 4.5 is going to be real close, so I'll probably do it like 4 5/8, maybe 4 3/4. And then I think this was 27 is what I wanted here. Yeah, 27 inches. So again, extra. I can always cut it off. So we're good to go there. So 27 by 4 5/8 is probably what I'm going to cut a piece of tin. And I can then start making that piece, profiling it to know exactly how big it needs to be. Now there's many ways I can do that. I may just go ahead and use the wire. I could cut this out and match the profile that way. They make some really cool profile gauges you can just push up against things. I've done enough with this that I'm very comfortable using the wire method. Sometimes I'll use a piece of brake line for things that are a little bit more complicated, but it's really not rocket science. And then the other thing that I will also do to make sure that I've got it right is I will just take another piece of scrap metal and bend that profile to make sure I've got those measurements exactly the way I want them and to match this. So, you know, one of the goals here on this is I'm not intending this to be a concourse restoration. If I was, I would be replacing the whole clip. Matter of fact, one of the projects on the ebodies.org Facebook page, guy posted he just bought the whole rear piece, everything basically from the front of the rear seat all the way back. It's one piece. It's about $1,100 plus a couple $100 shipping. It's obviously a much better way to go. Again, I could do that. I've done that. That's parts replacing. There's not a problem with that. If this was an original 446 pack RT Challenger, there'd be no question that's what I'm doing. This is a 318 car. There's nothing special about this Challenger. I like Challengers. I love fabricating. I like making this stuff. And I get to do things the way I want to. I'm not in any way, shape, or form intending to make this match every roll in the floor. I may go ahead and bead roll a design. I'm still thinking about how I want to make the trunk floor. It's going to look very nice. It may not look like factory. It's going to be very functional. and I'm going to be happy with it when it's done. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. So, all right, we're going to get that metal cut 4 5/8 by 27, and I'll be back, and we'll get that done. Okay, so we got the metal cut. Not my preferred way of doing it. My plasma cutter is broke, and I don't like using the cutoff wheel for this, but it's fine. That's why I made it a little bit bigger than it needs to be. I got a full start because of the sparks I couldn't see. I could have laid the metal up on a couple of horses and so forth, but for this little piece, I really wasn't that worried about it. I've got a set of pneumatic shears coming to cut this stuff. That's going to be a lot easier in the future, but I didn't want to wait for those. They won't be here for a week, and so we got a piece of metal anyway. So, okay, so I've done some profiling there and got some ballpark numbers again. I got, you can see I got 3/4, 3/4, inch and a half, 3/4, 3/4. And so what that looks like is about 1.5 inches across in here. About 3/4 of an inch this way and 3/4 of an inch this way. So there's quite the radius is in there. I'm not going to get that exactly perfect. I don't care that I get it exactly perfect. I'm going to take a small piece of tin and not the piece that I just cut and perfect this and make sure that those dimensions are exactly right, exactly what I want. Once I know what they're supposed to be, then I can go ahead and bend up the big piece. Should have known there'd be math involved. I just wanted to do a quick ballpark check to make sure that my numbers were close. I know that that piece is 4.5 because of the wire measurement, right? 4.5-ish. So I had 3/4 inch flange, 3/4 inch on the angle, 1.5 inches in the middle, 3/4, 3/4. So I decided to just go ahead and add these up and make sure my linear dimension was the same. And I've got 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. So 3/4 and 3/4. Straighten that out, it's 1.5 inches plus 1.5 across the center and 1.5. You add that together, and lo and behold, 1.5 and 1.5 is 3, plus 1.5 is 4.5. Imagine that. The numbers actually add up. So I think we're going to be good with those dimensions. It's just a matter of getting the profiles and the angles right. So that's going to be fun. I've got a little piece of tin cut here. I'm going to make 4.5 inches long. And again, this is just strictly for trying to bend the angles and figure out, first of all, the best way to bend it, and then also getting the angles right and making sure that all those dimensions line up so I get a profile that is the same as the one that's in here. I've got it laid out now, and this is what it's going to look like. So these are the flanges, the angles, and so forth. Instinctively, I feel like this is too narrow in here, and I'll go over there and show you why. However, I've got to start with a baseline. I can always cut another piece and change these dimensions, but I've got something to start with. And a lot of times what I found is by the time you bend the metal, things surprise you and they turn out differently than you expect. But my instincts are telling me this isn't wide enough and this is too wide. But we got multiple bends in here. A bend one way here, a bend the other way here. That's going to change things, and so I don't trust my instincts necessarily until I prove it, and then I'll make the tweak accordingly. Like if I need to come 1/8 inch out wider, which is I think what needs to happen, but I need to get this bent first and prove that to myself. So again, I'm going to let the math speak, and then we'll make adjustments to make the part look like what it should. And this is why I don't second guess myself. You can see that this lines here is almost wider than that bottom. So I think I'm going to be okay by the time I bend these up. It's probably going to be inside dimension a little bit smaller than that 1.5 inches, and I think it's going to be fine. But boy, everything in me wanted to do that differently. So now the next trick is I put it in the brake, and I don't know exactly the angle, so I've got to figure that out. If I had an angle finder, that would make it easy, but I'm not worried about it. I'll get it close, and then once we cut the other one out, we'll profile it, and we'll be fine. Okay, so get my crap out of the way here. Just getting ready to bend this up a little bit, so I'm going into that second line and dropping this down. Don't know how accurate this thing's going to be, but I'm going to put the upper clamp right on the line. And I brought my piece of wire over somewhere. Here it is. so that I'll get a, you know, an idea of how much angle to put on that tin. So this will take a couple of attempts, but I feel like maybe there. Let's see how that matches. Not enough, I can tell. That's okay. You can see though how much more I have to go. So good. This brake is probably bending things a little bit harder. That's pretty close, I think. The edge is going to be a little bit harder than what it is in there, but again, I'm not trying to make it look exactly factory. I want it functional. So let's do the same thing here. On the line, just make sure it's straight. I feel like I'm in a little bit too far. There we go. Well, this one's fighting me. All right, there we go. Good. Okay, so we'll do the same thing, about the same angle. It'd be nice if I had a degree reading on this thing to know. Pretty close. Could be a bit more. It's a bit tight. They're a bit wide. Let's do a little more on both of them. Assuming that my wire's close. You know, it'd be nice to have one of those tools that you just push up against and it's got all the little pins and you could make that perfect for you. I don't have one. So, this is the way we do it. Oops. Okay, I got carried away on one side. Did I? Or didn't I? Yeah, I did. So I got to bend that back a little bit. Note to self, when I'm making the big one, I got to be careful of that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that, I think. Part may be just a little bit wider, but I don't know. Probably not. But that looks pretty good. Again, we're not looking for perfection. I still feel like it's off a little bit, but I can tweak this around by hand and get it right. It's not going to be so easy to do on the big one, but there's still ways to do it. Now, the next thing I need to do is bend this the other way, and I may have an issue here I didn't think about. I may need to leave this open wider, and that's okay. To bend this one, I got to make a mark. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had to put a line on the outside, ignore the top line, that was in the wrong spot, so that I know where to bend these. I'm going to do this one right away. And, you know, I don't have to bend this angle on the long one, on the big one, all at once. So I can bend it part way and then make the flange parts and then squeeze it back together, you know, a little bit more, either in the brake or by hand, and ballpark it in place. So we're just doing the best we can with the tools we have here. No big deal. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we're making the flange. So I'm going up to make that parallel with this. Okay, same thing on this side. Okay, that piece is a little bit funky, but it'll be fine. And again, parallel with that. Now I know that's way out of whack, but it's starting to come together. So fold that down like that. See what we got. Okay, so now we're getting our profile. We're starting to get the profile here. It's actually pretty good, other than the top pieces, I think. Lays out pretty nice. So let's go ahead and bend these some more. Now that I have that flanged a little bit, it's okay to bend this. So I know I can make that parallel like that. Pretty close. Okay, let's see what we got. Getting there. Gotta tweak that in a little bit. Close enough. So this test piece is pretty close, I think. So we'll take it over to the car now and see what it looks like compared to that over there. Okay, so now we're gonna go against the good one here and see what we got. So here's my test piece. What do you think? It looks pretty close. Very happy with that. Wasn't fit in there. Go on the other side. It's a little bit wider, but for what I'm doing, I'm happy with that. So now we'll lay out the big piece. I know it's a bit too wide. I'll have to take some snips and trim it off, but I'm going to start here on the factory edge and measure my dimensions up 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 1.5, 1.5, 3/4, and I'll measure them all from this edge and then flip it over and do my one dimension on this side. I probably should go ahead and trim that off now that I think about it. No, I'll do the same thing. I'll measure 3/4 and then whatever it is, 3 3/4 or whatever it is over to get my other 3/4 inch flange. And I'll wait till it's all bent and then I'll take the snips and trim it off on that side. Okay, so you noticed in the time lapse there I was painting it. Not really painting it for the sake of painting it. I'm just doing that for layout so that rather than using a fat marker, which isn't accurate, I'm got the paint on there and then I can use my square and do a scribe line and get those dimensions exactly where I want them. So I got that in front of the heater right now. It won't take very long for that to dry. I'm going to take a quick break, run in the house, take care of a couple things, and we'll be back out here and we will start bending up that piece. Okay, so I got it all laid out here. Hopefully you can see that. And all I did was just take my cheap caliper from Harbor Freight and just use it to mark out my dimensions and score it. So hopefully you can see that. So now what I want to do is go through here and try to just get this edge cut the way it's supposed to be. So we're going to do that. Hopefully my snips are good enough. Okay, so I had a little bit of an issue and camera wasn't lined up right, so I didn't get to show you what happened. But I'll explain it here. You can find my profile piece. So this was the profile, and that is correct, you know, that we had made, and it fits real well. And this piece here, you know, it matches pretty darn close. It's a little bit sharper in here. I need to do a little bit more hammer and dolly work. Sorry, down in here, it's just a little bit sharper, but I'm fine with that for what this is. What happened was I didn't think about when I was bending the longer piece, the way that bending this flange this way was going to affect this piece in here. And so I had the angle right here on the one side, but I actually needed to overbend this, so when I bent that back it would kind of come back a little bit. So when it was done, it was very flat, and so I had to kind of hammer and dolly that out a little bit and get it fixed. And it's fine for what this is. It's nice and flat. You can lay it on the bench good. One end is better than the other, so I'll probably use this end. You can see the profile is off just a little teeny bit there. That's quite a bit. This end is not quite so much Camera angles are screwy, sorry. So I'll probably use this end on the front to match the frame rail and this one here on the back. I've got to cut this out anyway and make a big hoop down here for the gas tank strap. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to start working on. Okay, so I took some time off camera because you've seen me do this before anyway. So I just took some time off camera and got the spot welds down in here broken out. And so the next thing I'm going to do is go up here right in front of where that rust is. So we got rust up to about here, and the rest of that's fairly solid. So we're going to slice this off right here and get that out of the way so that we can start putting the new piece in. We'll trim that off straight, and then we'll be able to line up the profile real good with the other one, so that'll be good. It's just a little bit crooked there. Okay, so we're going to have to trim this off a little better, but it's good enough for now. Things are nice and solid back here as far as the back piece of the car. So we'll get you over here and let you take a shot at that. And like I said, that's got to be squared up, but I'm not worried about that right now. So the thing that I need to do is get this in here where you can see it, is I need to take the new piece that we made and I need to pie slice it across so that I can bend it up. And then need to put this hoop in here as well where the gas tank strap bolt mount goes. So there's another piece that goes inside, but we'll get that all made up here in just a minute. Okay, so I just laid the new piece in there just to lay it, and it's going to look great. Not going to look bad at all. So the trim work that needs to be done back here to make that hoop, get all that done before we cut anything off up there. As you can see, it's seems to be quite a bit longer, but it's not going to be by the time I cut this in the back and make that bump in it. So let's get her done. Okay, so new piece and the old piece. I want to drill a couple of holes in it like that other one, but I'll do that at the last. Those are just drain holes to keep it from rusting. You can see they were very effective here. So yeah, I am going to mate this here with what's in the car. So side by side, these would be like this. Like this. So then what we're doing back here is making all of this structure and so forth. So I've got to do some dimensioning off the other one, but I can at least use this one for a pattern to know where I need to cut it to start doing some of that bending. So this will be fun. I'm looking forward to this. Very important note, make sure you mark which end you want to be the front so you don't start working on the wrong end. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this end out on this one to make it match so that I've got those mounting tabs here and here with that dimension in here, which I'll measure. And so that'll be the first piece that I make in this. Then it'll be just a matter of bending this angle down and so forth. But one step at a time first. We'll get that done. So anyway, I've got this piece getting closer, and of course I made it plenty long. I still have about an inch overlap up there, which is about where I want to stay. We'll cut it flush once I have the piece made. This bend that I put in, this pie slice, is about in the right place here. So the next thing I need to do is cut this back just a little bit here so that I can start that down. There's a piece that goes down and up. So that's the next thing I need to do, is get a profile on that and start manufacturing fabricating that piece. There's way extra material up here right now. That's why this is sticking way up, but I don't want to cut anything off yet. I started working up here and was going to work my way back, and that wasn't working very well. So I decided to go the other way, and I think this is going to work much better. There's nothing that I've done up there that's going to be a problem. It's all going to be cut out of there anyway. I'm just about confident I can cut it out right now, but I want to wait and get a little more of that hump piece done. And then I've got to make this other piece right here also. So we'll see how much more I can get done. I'm starting to run out of steam today. My knee is starting to bother me, and I don't want to overdo it. But I'm going to work on this just a little bit more, and we'll see what we get. Okay, there was no real way to film that, so I went under the car and cut out a template to know exactly how that bump in that frame is. So I'll cut that out now, and then we'll be able to make that out of metal. I'll probably only have to make some of it, not all of it, but we'll obviously be welding it onto the piece of C-channel that we bent to replace that floor support. So we'll get this cut out here, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, things are starting to come together now. My actual bend needs to be here, so I need to cut this out, which is fine because this all needs to get cut out of there anyway for that gas tank strap. So it's no big deal that I cut it here. It worked fine for my bend down. I mean, it would have been nice had I not, so I would have had some more material, but I'm not worried about that at all. I'll be making the little piece that goes in there and then just plopping it in and welding it. So make another cut here and do a bend, and then we'll go back and test fit the car again. All right, it's coming together good now. So I made myself a mark here so I know where my alignment point. This it measures exactly from the back of the car here to here, 7 3/4 inches, where that hump starts on both sides. So then this drops down here. You can see where my finger is. There'll be a loop there. Some of this is going to have to be cut out and tapered down a little differently. The way it's built up in here is a bit different on the other side, but I'm quite frankly going to leave this like this and just weld this in here. That's going to work good and give me a little extra added strength there. But this is really starting to look nice. I'm really pleased with it, and I can get my holes drilled in it when I get to that point and so forth. If you can see what I see, hopefully the video does that. I'm geeked. I think this is looking phenomenal. I'm really happy with it, and obviously a couple hours of work yet to do to get it in there. I think I'm going to call it. I think that's enough for me for today. My knee is starting to bother me, and I'm trying to be a good boy. So we're doing good, but let's take a couple more looks at it here. Yeah, this is the stuff that I really like doing. Out of anything in a car, fabricating is just fun to me. We've got, like I said, we've got good base points now. I'm really thrilled with the way this is looking. So, yes. I'm really happy. It's turning out well. Mistakes were made. That's part of fabricating, right? I haven't done this stuff in quite a while, and I got new equipment and so forth, so getting up to speed a little bit, of course, but it's metal. That's the beautiful thing about metal. It's like clay. Move it around. If you don't like what you did, take it back out, do it again, or you can cut it out and weld it in. Metal moves, and you can really do some nice work if you're patient. I had a plan. My plan changed. I had that plan, my plan changed again, but it's all coming together now, so that's good. I'm really happy with it. And a couple other things I want to mention here also. Thank you to my buddy Mark, who came yesterday and made the shop workable with me. We had a bunch of stuff to move into the back. We got the 74, as I mentioned, the 47 moved up there. Just made a lot of room in here so that I can actually have some room to work. We got some really cool little workstations set up, got the paint bench all cleaned up and organized, new set of shelves back there. Very happy, Mark. Thank you. I also wanted to give him a shout out. He's the guy that does the intro on the show. So I meant to get him on camera. We didn't do that yesterday, but he's going to be back, and we're going to get him doing some metal work and have some fun with that too. So maybe when we start doing the frame rails, he'll be able to come back. So Mark, let me know. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a comment down in the bottom there. I'd appreciate it. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. There's obviously going to be another piece to this where I'm going to get this piece in. I thought I'd get it all done in one episode, but I think I'm going to call it quits. And well, a lot of progress, and this is the way fabricating is. So if you haven't liked the channel, please do that. It'd mean a lot to me to get more subscribers here. Also, click the bell so you receive the notifications. I would appreciate that. Excuse me. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook /MyCarShop. Also, down in the comment section, talk about what questions you have. Ask me questions. Talk about what else you'd like to see on the show. Tell me which of the projects we have here is your favorite. The 74 Dart, the 73 Dart, the 47 Ford, the 26 Oakland, the 70 Challenger, the 69 Charger, the 68 Dart GTS, the 88 W150. I'm probably forgetting some, but we got a few projects here and another one coming. So I don't know when we're going to get that here, when we're going to get started on it. I've also got some work to do for some friends on the 66 Belvedere and either a truck or a Duster or maybe both. Dave, we're going to have to work that out yet, but it's going to be fun. So thanks for watching, and I really would appreciate you subscribing once again. So comments, like the show, like the channel, like this episode. Appreciate it. Rock on.